This is the game they called Catholics versus convicts.
But that wasn't fair. It was inaccurate because not all our team was Catholic.
The convicts you have no problem with.
I can't control that,
Okay.
but we weren't all Catholic.
Locker room. So I guess we can truthfully say, as we get ready for this game, these two teams still don't like each other.
Miami over Notre Dame, 58-7.
The Hurricanes, an underdog, will win a national championship again, this time under Coach Jimmy Johnson.
From these ashes, Notre Dame will rise up again.
Look, has the time, lost the ball, the pass is batted down. It's batted down by Carroll, and the Irish may win it this afternoon. They're out in front 31-30 as Jimmy Johnson went for two.
Notre Dame will duly celebrate a national championship. No doubt, the Irish are number one.
This is Catholics versus Convicts, a rivalry that captivated the college football world in the late 1980s, with nearly every matchup during that period having major implications on the national championship. Today we will be taking a full look at the greatest and most important games from this historic series. I truly hope y'all enjoy. We start in 1967 with just the fourth matchup ever between these two programs. This game was the final one of the regular season, so the only thing on the line was pride. This was especially true for Notre Dame, as they were the defending national champions and were hoping to add another top 5 finish to their illustrious resume. Miami would play Notre Dame tough, jumping out to an early lead and taking a 16-10 lead into the locker room. The second half seemed to be all Notre Dame, however, as the Fighting Irish scored a touchdown in the third and fourth to take a 24-16 lead, but the Hurricanes didn't give up the fight, scoring in the final moments to make it a 2-point ball game. Miami had to go for 2 and the tie, but the pass fell incomplete and the Irish secured an exciting 24-22 win. Now we fast forward a few years to 1973. Notre Dame had a perfect season up to this point and needed to win this game to keep their national title hopes alive. The Irish had no trouble with this Miami team and overwhelmed them in a dominant 44-0 shutout win. This result put Notre Dame at number 3 going into the bowl games, so they were certainly in the mix for the national title. The Irish would play in the Sugar Bowl against number 1 Alabama, making this a de facto national championship game. Notre Dame ultimately completed their perfect season with a thrilling 24-23 victory over the Crimson Tide, securing the school's 9th national championship.
And now the game is on the line. Thomas from the 18. Kick is up. Kick is good. And the Irish lead 24-23.
Notre Dame, the great name in football, is now the national champion by 1 point.
We look ahead just 4 years later and find ourselves in an extremely similar situation. Notre Dame and Miami would face each other in the final game of the regular season. The Irish weren't perfect this time, but held a number 5 ranking and were certainly in the mix for the national title once again. Joe Montana was the quarterback for Notre Dame in this one, and he calmly led his team to a convincing 48-10 win over Miami. Notre Dame was still ranked number 5 going into the bowl games, but had a shot at winning it all, as they had the privilege of playing number 1 Texas in the Cotton Bowl. The Fighting Irish would embarrass the Longhorns in their home state in a 38-10 blowout victory. Notre Dame finished on top of the polls, and Joe Montana cemented himself as a legend in South Bend for leading the program to their 10th national championship. We'll take a brief look at one of the more forgotten games in the series, as these two faced off in a ranked matchup in South Bend. Future Georgia and Miami head coach Mark Richt was starting at quarterback for the Canes in this one, but could only muster up 14 points in this brutal defensive battle. Notre Dame trailed 14-13 with less than 2 minutes to play, and proceeded to go on a clutch drive to get the ball all the way down to the 15-yard line. Notre Dame's walk-on kicker then came on and delivered the game-winning field goal in the final moments. Now we go just 1 year later to 1983. To truly grasp the significance of this game, we need to understand how these two programs were viewed at the time. Notre Dame was college football's golden child, claimant to 10 national titles, and had completely owned the series with Miami up to this point. As for Miami, they had been gaining some momentum under new head coach Howard Schnellenberger, but were still not respected on a national stage with no championships to their name. But the 1983 season would turn that narrative on its head. Miami shut out the 13th ranked Fighting Irish 20-0 to secure just their 3rd win in series history.
That game gave our young football team confidence and esprit de corps that would not be challenge the balance of the year.
The Miami defense would continue to play stellar from there on out, holding every remaining regular season opponent to 17 points or less. Miami would then get their first shot at a national title against the top-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the Hurricanes shocked the college football world with a 31-30 upset victory. Miami broke up a 2-point conversion attempt from Nebraska in the final moments to take home the school's first ever national championship, and little did anyone know at the time, but this game and this season would launch one of the greatest dynasties in college football history. 1985 signified a complete flip of the script for these two programs. Miami was a force to be reckoned with, set to compete for another national championship under new head coach Jimmy Johnson, while Notre Dame was struggling to even make a bowl game under head coach Jerry Faust. The Hurricanes completely embarrassed Notre Dame and ran up the score to make the final tally 58-7 and put the final nail in the coffin for Faust's coaching tenure at Notre Dame. The loss was so dramatic that it prompted former Irish head coach Ara Parseghian to make a prophetic statement about Notre Dame football.
They embarrassed Notre Dame.
Ara Parseghian's doing the TV, and he said, "From these ashes, Notre Dame will rise up again."
The following year, the Fighting Irish brought on Lou Holtz to be their new head coach, and he was set to be the man to bring Notre Dame back to glory. Things had certainly improved for Notre Dame under second-year head coach Lou Holtz, and found themselves in a massive top 10 matchup against Miami. Despite the improvements in the number 10 ranking, Notre Dame stood no chance in this one. The Miami dynasty was in full force at this time, and beating them in the Orange Bowl was nearly impossible. The Hurricanes shut out the Fighting Irish 24-0, setting them up for a national championship game against Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. This game was a tough battle between two great teams, and Miami ultimately outlasted the Sooners to take home their second national championship.
The Hurricanes, an underdog, will win a national championship again, this time under Coach Jimmy Johnson.
We go just 1 year later to 1988, the most famous game in series history, and the reason many of you clicked on this video. This was the game that gave the rivalry its infamous name, Catholics versus Convicts. The slogan was made by several Notre Dame students, and was likely inspired by the arrests of two Miami players prior to the season. The game was played in South Bend in Week 6, with both teams coming in with perfect records and a top 5 ranking. A game of this magnitude this early in the season was quite rare during this time period, so the hype was truly one of a kind. Miami entered as defending national champions, riding a 36-game regular season winning streak. Their last regular season loss was all the way back in Week 1 of 1985. They were a true juggernaut, and this game seemed to be the only one on their schedule that might stop them from repeating as national champions. Prior to the start of the game, Miami ran through the Notre Dame team as they headed to the locker room, resulting in a big fight between the two opponents. While the scuffle itself may have been a bit overhyped, one thing was clear: these teams did not like each other. The Fighting Irish headed to the locker room shortly after, and Notre Dame head coach Lou Holtz gave the speech of his life.
I was embarrassed. And so we get in the locker room. I am really mad. And I said it in a very meaningful way. I said, if I see anybody during the course of this football game do anything but class or show disrespect to Notre Dame or anything else, you represent thousands, millions of people. You're not even going to be pulled out of this game. You're never going to play for Notre Dame again. I want to see a class operation. Now, after we win the game, if Miami wants to fight, fine, we'll meet them in the alley. And I didn't plan to say this, but it just came out. And if they do, you say Jimmy Johnson's asked for me. Well, I didn't get anything else. They went out the locker room. I wasn't done. I wanted to get my... They go storming out the locker room.
Side on the inside. 2nd and 7. Walsh under pressure. Ball is knocked free, and the Irish pounce on it.
And Steve Walsh thinks he was throwing the ball.
Tailback on this 3rd and 7. And off the fake, Tony Rice will throw it. Complete. First down. Miami pressing. First down and more as Banks carries a defender out of bounds, and 4 against this defense. Rice keeping it. He'll go for the touchdown. Intercepted. Notre Dame intercepts it, and they'll have a first down at the 35-yard line with DeJuan Francisco. Now the pressure solidly on the Miami defense. Maryland gets across and almost beat the snap to disrupt it. The ball is loose. Miami's got it.
He will throw here.
He's got his man, Andre Brown, and he is short of the goal line. No, they rule he's in. Touchdown, Miami. 15 yards to go for the first down right now. Again, the offensive line gives him time. He goes deep to Ismail down the middle against McDowell, and he's got it. He falls. 3rd and 5. Slot to the left, and Rice to throw going in. Drops it off for a touchdown. Fullback Braxton Banks. Notre Dame leads again. And here Notre Dame leading Miami, but early. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up. Walsh's pass is deflected and intercepted. Terrell will go the distance. With a nickel defensive package in their secondary. Walsh drops it off to Gary. Gary steps away from one defender. Let's see how it works out. Kowalkowski replaced the injured Stams. First down. Conley going for the corner. Touchdown, Miami.
A terrific call by Jimmy Johnson.
They show a slot formation. Down to the middle, and it is complete at the 15-yard line to Andre Brown. And they can take a shot at a touchdown. Walsh pulls it out. As protection, there it is. Cleveland Gary for the touchdown. Miami does it again, just what they do best of all. What a fabulous college football team working against the clock.
Miami's late rally tied the game at 21 as the game went into halftime. The momentum was on the Hurricanes' side, and their defense immediately made a big play to start the second half.
Behind his 4 defensive linemen. Now Rice on a quick roll. Lobs one, bad pass. Diving catch for the interception by McDowell. They scored 15 minutes in the closing 2 minutes of the first half. They run on first down, and the Irish defense, nothing going there. Ball pops free. Notre Dame ball. Boy, I'll tell you, Jimmy Johnson should complain about this. I thought that there should have been a whistle that forward progress was stopped. Blocked. Live ball. And out of bounds. Miami blocks the field goal attempt with you-know-who number 48, Pat, Bubba McDowell. Tim Kalau. He was under extreme pressure, and he did not punt well. This time he has the wind at his back. And they go to the short man on the fake. The fake punt, first down, Notre Dame. Matt Britton could not pick up the first down. Started to exert himself as the weak side outside linebacker. Rice to throw on first down. Has time. Waters open. He's got it. Out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Rice to Waters. Stand goal with the full house. Rod West, number 43, checks into the backfield. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Pat Eilers. Now second down and 9. Irish with 5. They come on the blitz, and it's intercepted. Jeff Olm intercepts the ball. The Irish blitz forces Walsh to the short drop. Rice to throw on second and 8. Right down the middle to his tight end, complete. The big fella, Derek Brown. Miami with tremendous kick blocking ability. And this one on the money. It's a 10-point Notre Dame lead. Gary and Crowell are the setbacks. Off a fake to Crowell. Buys time. Complete over the middle to Gary, and Gary's inside the 10-yard line. Beautiful kick. Never a doubt about that one. And the lead is now 7. They're going to throw it. Walsh. Beautiful catch by Brown, and out of bounds at the 14. 4th down and everything. puts it down. Notre Dame pounces on the loose ball. Walsh is quickly there. Was he called down? Notre Dame ball. They have fumbled at the 1-yard line. Jimmy Johnson furious. Miami. And again, Walsh. Stams gets him from behind. The ball's on the ground. Notre Dame. Frank Stams does it again.
To throw the ball downfield.
They got Robert Bailey one-on-one on Ismail. Rice is hit, though, and he cannot get it away as Shannon comes in, forces the fumble. Miami's ball inside the 15-yard line.
If they catch it, they're not going anywhere after the catch.
Walsh changing the play. Over the middle, incomplete.
It had all come down to this. 51 seconds left, 4th and 7, with Miami trailing by a touchdown. The Hurricanes needed to convert on this play to stay alive.
Aren't they something? Touchdown, Andre Brown.
Following the touchdown, Miami head coach Jimmy Johnson called a timeout. He knew he could either kick the extra point for the tie or go for 2 and the win. The Hurricanes were never ones to back down from a challenge, and they decided to go for it all.
Brown and Dawkins to the right. Incomplete.
Notre Dame had done it. They finally knocked off Miami. The Fighting Irish knew that this was their moment to return to glory. All they had to do was win out to take home the program's 11th national championship. Notre Dame would face number 2 USC in the final week of the regular season, and they beat them convincingly by a score of 27-10. The Fighting Irish then faced number 3 West Virginia in the Fiesta Bowl, and they handled them as well, winning the game 34-21 to take home the national championship. You really couldn't get a more thrilling regular season matchup than the one in 1989. Here you had defending national champion Notre Dame riding a 23-game winning streak, traveling to their great rivals' home in the final week of the regular season. The Fighting Irish were ranked number 1, while Miami was ranked number 7. The Hurricanes were certainly still in the hunt for their 3rd national title, and a win over the top-ranked Irish was necessary to accomplish that dream. Fortunately for Miami, they were playing at home. The Orange Bowl was a scary place to play during the Miami dynasty, with the Hurricanes being nearly invincible on their home turf. The first half was a tightly contested battle, and Miami took a 17-10 lead into the locker room with a touchdown late in the second quarter.
20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Miami! 55 yards!
The second half was all Miami, as their elite defense completely shut out Notre Dame. The Hurricane offense also put together a 12-minute drive and scored 10 points to cruise to an impressive 27-10 victory. This Miami win made things a little complicated entering the bowl games. Here's what the rankings looked like at the time. Number 1 Colorado would face number 4 Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, while number 2 Miami would face number 7 Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. This meant one of 3 scenarios could play out. The first is that if Colorado beats Notre Dame, they are national champions. Simple as that. The second is if Notre Dame knocks off Colorado and Miami beats Alabama, Miami are national champions. And finally, if Notre Dame beats Colorado and Miami loses to Alabama, then Notre Dame are national champions. The Orange and Sugar Bowls would both kick off on New Year's night, leading to a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience for fans. Both games remained close at the end of the first half, with Miami leading Alabama by 3 and Notre Dame and Colorado deadlocked at 0. The national championship was still up for grabs, but the second half of both games would work out for Miami. The Hurricanes jumped out ahead of the Crimson Tide and outlasted them to win 33-25. Meanwhile, Notre Dame jumped out ahead of Colorado and stifled the Buffalo offense to win the game 21-6. And just like that, Miami had done it, winning their 3rd national championship in 7 years and cementing themselves as one of the great dynasties in college football history. 1990 would be yet another matchup with national title implications. These two were ranked in the top 6, but had both been ranked number 1 early in the season. Miami were the the defending national champions and had started on top of the AP poll. However, they would immediately lose that spot following a shocking Week 1 loss to BYU. Notre Dame would then claim the throne for a few weeks before getting stunned by a 1-3 Stanford team at home. Fortunately for both programs, 1990 was one of the most volatile years in college football history, so both were still in the mix for the national championship. However, with both teams at one loss, this game became a must-win. Miami started off hot in this one as they forced a fumble on Notre Dame's first drive and quickly turned it into a touchdown. The teams then traded field goals before the Hurricanes made the mistake of kicking the ball to Rocket Ismail.
Here's the run up and the kick by Huerta. It'll come down and the Rocket will get a shot at it at the 6. Brings it back to the 10, to the 15, at the 20, 25, to the left, at the 30. Look out, it's going to be a foot race. To the 40, to the 50, down the sideline, at the 30, pulling away, at the 20, the stand 5, touchdown all the way. 94 yards.
Later on, Notre Dame went on a long drive that ended in a field goal to take a 13-10 lead. Miami responded with their own long scoring drive to take the lead right back. Notre Dame still had a little bit of time before the half ended, and they marched down the field to set up another field goal to cut the lead to 1. In the second half, Notre Dame quickly forced a fumble which turned into yet another field goal and a 19-17 lead. Later on, Rick Mirer once again drove the Irish down the field to set up Craig Hentrich's 5th field goal of the game. Miami answered with a field goal of their own for what would turn out to be the Hurricanes' only points of the second half. The Fighting Irish defense was stellar, constantly putting pressure on Erickson and forcing big turnovers all night. Late in the fourth, Notre Dame marched down the field on an exhausted Miami defense and scored a touchdown to take a decisive 29-20 lead. Miami had one last drive, but fumbled inside the 10-yard line to secure a gutsy victory for the Fighting Irish. Ultimately, Notre Dame would not be the ones to take home the national championship in 1990. A few weeks after this game, they found themselves back on top of the polls, but they went on to get their heart ripped out by Penn State before losing to number 1 Colorado in the Orange Bowl. Unfortunately for fans, this year was the last of the Notre Dame-Miami rivalry for this time period. The two programs chose not to schedule each other going forward, and it took 20 years for them to play each other again. Miami and Notre Dame chose to briefly renew their rivalry with a home-and-home agreement starting in 2016. Both teams were having awful years in 2016, so the only thing on the line was pride. The Fighting Irish jumped out to a 20-0 lead midway through the second quarter, but Miami would slowly bring it back and tied the game early in the fourth before taking the lead on a Notre Dame miscue with less than 7 minutes to play.
7 different receivers. This just a little pooch punt by Vogel trying to pin Notre Dame back in, and he lost the football. It's in the end zone, and Miami's on it for a touchdown.
The Fighting Irish offense finally woke up again and tied it up with a big run just 1 minute later.
Gets loose at the line of scrimmage, and now has nothing but green grass ahead of him. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Their defense then stood tall, and the offense went on a slow drive to chew up clock. With 2 minutes to go and Notre Dame knocking on the door, this happened.
Kaiser dumps it over the middle to Durham Smythe, and he drops the ball. Fumbles it at the goal line, and Miami has it. Notre Dame ball. They're saying it's Notre Dame's football.
Somehow, Notre Dame recovered the football and chewed another minute and a half of clock before kicking a game-winning field goal.
The game for Notre Dame.
McIntosh is the guy on defense that has 2 block kicks.
It's a good hold. Hughes got it.
2017 had high stakes, similar to the games of old. Notre Dame was ranked number 3 and Miami was ranked number 7, with both teams vying for a spot in the college football playoff. Miami had a perfect record, but had yet to earn the respect of the polls as a result of their easy schedule. They didn't need to worry about that for long, however, as they completely wiped the floor with Notre Dame.
Rozier again lobbing far side of the end zone. Barrios! Touchdown, Miami! Aggressive approach from Mark Brick calling the play so far. Rozier again darts up the middle, slips out of a tackle, stutter steps, scores! He's got it, trying to get the edge, cuts back, dives to the pylon, touchdown!
Following this win, Miami moved up to number 3 in the rankings. They proceeded to beat Virginia and just had an unranked 4-7 Pitt team remaining on their regular season schedule. All Miami had to do was beat Pitt and then look half decent against Clemson in the ACC championship, and they would be in the college football playoff. However, Miami would get shocked by Pitt in a 24-14 loss before getting curb stomped by Clemson in the ACC championship to end their playoff and national championship dreams.
Second time tonight they've not been able to recover a fumble. They had it. Now Kane, end zone, touchdown!
So there you have it, a comprehensive look at the best games from the rivalry they call Catholics versus Convicts. These two play again this Sunday at 7:30, so let me know down in the comments who you think is going to open up their season with a top 10 win. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more of my content in the future, hit that subscribe button down below.